So I was CEO of a software company. And as the CEO, when I first started, I had to go around and meet with all of our key clients. And they were all effectively in the same industry. And so I traveled actually around the world. It was a pretty grueling situation in terms of the travel. But it was a great opportunity for me to sit down with our largest clients and get a sense of them and try to develop a relationship. And my first stop was Asia. And I sat down and visited with the senior leadership team of this insurance company. And we had a nice talk. And I had come from the insurance industry before I became CEO of the software company. So one of the executives said, would you mind listening to our strategic plan for next year? We'd love to get your feedback. You're sort of an industry guy, and maybe it would be helpful for us to hear what you have to say. So I said, absolutely, I would love to do that. And so I sat down and I went through their presentation with them. And it was very interesting, and they had decided that there was a wonderful opportunity to go after companies that were on the smaller side, or small businesses. They saw that as a underserved niche in their marketplace, and that they were really going to be committed, and they saw a real opportunity for their company to grab significant market share. And so we went through it. It made a lot of sense. They had a lot of data. It seemed like it was well researched. I left them and I said, wow, these guys really have their act together. And then I got on a plane and I went to Europe. And I met with several insurance companies there. And lo and behold, the same thing happened. The executives asked me to stay and they wanted to sort of go through their strategy with me. And so we did. And wouldn't you know, they said they were going to target small businesses. And they gave me effectively all the same reasons for why they were doing and going into this market as I had heard at prior stops. And so when I got back to the United States and started visiting some of our clients in the United States, I started to ask if I could listen or learn about the strategy of the clients that I was visiting. And of course they thought, oh, that's great, he's showing a real interest in the firm. And so I sat down with them, and lo and behold, the clients in the United States said the same thing. They were going to go after the small business segment. They saw it as underserved. And again, all of them had incredible reports, had great data, PowerPoint presentations. It was all really well packaged. So what was the lesson for me? The lesson for me is when I'm working with a team, or when I'm thinking on my own about opportunities, and when I think about a strategy to go after a new market, or even to innovate in a specific market, one of the assumptions I'll make, because I tend to get very excited, or when you have data that supports your position and you've done a lot of research and spent a lot of time and energy, is it's a unique idea. And my takeaway is it probably isn't. And so when you go down this path, I think you have to take one additional step, and that's what I do now. And that is, I assume that whatever we've figured out, somebody else has figured out that's a competitor. And so what we do is we scenario plan for how we're going to enter the market and what our specific execution steps are going to be. So it really becomes a function of, great, you have a strategy. Great, it's well researched. But now, how do you make sure you execute so that if somebody else has come up with the same idea, you don't lose, but actually you're able to grab a good part of the market share that you thought you were going to have a chance to grab at the outset?